Hi, this is Davidian Lyon, and I'm here to discuss Human Design Sacral Inner Authority. Respond correctly and find fulfillment. You have sacral authority, which means that your sacral center is defined and your solar plexus is undefined, or white in your chart. If your sacral is defined, that means you're either a generator or a manifesting generator. For you, one of the prerequisites to making sure you're aligning to what's correct for you and leading you towards a satisfying outcome is whether or not you're acting in response to something being brought to your attention rather than something you're initiating. Your sacral is the decider, and it's deciding whether it's going to give you enough energy to pull off whatever it is you're deliberating about. A sacral no means that your sacral won't give its energy resources, its fuel, its vigor, its drive towards that thing or relationship or experience, etc. that you're considering. If it's correct for you, it will, and it'll let you know that in its communication with you. It will also tell you if it's not correct for you. So your sacral's whole raison d'etre is figuring out in response whether something is correct for you or not and will lead you to a satisfying outcome. The sacral holds the purse strings for your renewable life force energy. The currency for getting you to that satisfying outcome is your sacral giving you enough energy to complete that task. If it's not correct for you and you get a sacral no but still persist, you may perhaps have enough energy to complete the task you're considering from other means or motors in your body, namely the ego, root, or solar plexus, which offer different energy qualities and durations of that energy. But if the sacral said no, your outcome will not be satisfying. And in the case of the solar plexus, as a being with sacral authority, that's a motor you definitely do not have natural access to. And in those cases, as in the case with any motor you have undefined, that energy isn't even your own. So for instance, the energy you're getting through your undefined solar plexus could be an amplification and distortion of someone else's passion or emotional connection to the project or whatever it is. So you may find adequate energy resources to do the thing, but your results will more than likely be frustrating, or at least not satisfying. Have you ever reached some goal you set for yourself and accomplished the whatever it is, but still felt unsatisfied? Well, if you have sacral authority, your sacral knew you'd end up frustrated, and had you consulted it and heeded its guidance, you'd have had greater satisfaction, and that may have meant that that goal you set for yourself was not the right one for you. So it's not only there to give you enough energy to just complete the task at hand, but also that doing so will lead you to a satisfying outcome. You see, your sacral, if you have sacral authority, is divinely or cosmically intertwined to your life's blueprint, your life's trajectory and path to satisfaction in a way that your mind simply is not. As a generator or a manifesting generator, you're pulling life to you and your sacral is responding to what shows up. Responding to something actually offers protection to the generator and manifesting generator. For those with sacral authority, getting in touch with their sacral response is critical, and it might be hard to hear at first. Your sacral is the source of regenerative life force energy, but that energy, that fuel, is only available in response and when your sacral tells you yes in the way that it does. Repeatedly ignoring your sacral's guidance typically doesn't end well. It can result in total burnout and fatigue or even a health crisis, constricting the regenerative life force energy that would otherwise be at your disposal when your sacral has green-lighted the whatever it is. Approximately 35% of the population have sacral authority. Having sacral authority means that you can trust your gut response, but only when you're responding and not initiating. Your sacral communicates a yes or no with guttural noises. Uh-huh for yes, or for no. And if you get an that is a maybe, which should be understood as a no for now. So from now on, instead of answering with yes or no, try to start answering with uh-huh or when asked a yes or no question, and let your body answer without thinking. You can trust these answers if you listen to your immediate reaction before your mind gets involved to hijack and tweak your answers to its benefit. Now, one thing I'd like to add is that not everyone's sacral makes the same noises, so it may not speak to you with an obvious uh-huh or uh-uh, although that's how it works for many people. It could sound and feel a bit different for you. Maybe you're an mm-hmm or mm-mm type person. Or maybe it'll be something else. We're not all the same, so you'll need to experiment and watch it. It may take a little time to navigate with it, so be patient. You're bringing a whole new inner guidance system online. Just know that the sacral definitely does not speak in terms of yes and no. So if it's speaking to you in words, like yes or no, those responses were generated by your mind and not your sacral authority, your truth. So since your truth is revealed when you're confronted with a yes or no question, it's good to have someone ask you yes or no questions to start getting used to answering with your sacral. And it's better that the questions are verbally posed to you rather than written. The more you use this method for determining what is correct for you, the more you'll begin to recognize the nuances of how your body is communicating with you and guiding you. So experiment. If you get a or an which again means a maybe, which is either a no for now, or the question posed to you may need to be asked differently. The more you allow yourself to answer in this way, the stronger you will get at recognizing what is right for you and what means yes, no, and maybe for you. You are learning a new language, so don't expect to be fluent immediately. It could certainly happen, but don't fret if it takes you a bit longer. When you know you're speaking to a sacral person, try your best to ask them yes or no questions. Sometimes you'll be just compelled to ask them yes or no questions, and a random question may just pop into your head that has nothing to do with what you're talking about. It may very well serve that sacral authority person if you go ahead and ask that question, so they may resolve that quandary without the influence of their mind. It may be that the aura of someone with sacral authority carries some frequency that has others pose questions about things that may be unresolved. And sometimes the sacral person may not even be able to articulate the question that needs asking, and it just sort of gets beamed into the mind of the other person and gets asked. There's also less of a likelihood that their mind has prepared an answer when they didn't ask you to ask them something. As in the case of, hey, ask me if it's correct for me to take the job I was offered. Perhaps you'll sense their unanswered yes or no questions. What is underlying what they're saying? This is how you can help them become clear. Now, your mind may very well be at odds with your sacral response. For instance, your sacral, when asked if you're ready to go to whatever event you've committed to going with your partner, may say no to going to an event, and that's when your mind kicks in saying, you can't say no. The tickets were already paid for. Your friends are waiting to see you there. Everyone will be so disappointed, and so you end up going and find yourself totally drained of energy. Your body warned you, albeit inconveniently, that it would not be giving its energy toward that pursuit. You learn to respect your sacral voice if you want to keep your vitality. That also means allowing your sacral to supersede whatever your mind says or dictates. Perhaps knowing that your sacral won't give you the energy to satisfyingly complete the thing your sacral said no to will make you reconsider ignoring it. I want to make a distinction here. Sacral authority, which is your way of knowing if something is correct for you or not, is not the same thing as intuition. Your sacral authority is not an early warning system insofar as predicting the future. For instance, that foreboding feeling about getting on a bus, or the sense that your Aunt Mildred just had an accident in Nebraska. This is your body informing you in response to something, and only that. Like in the case of a yes or no question. It's the truth in the moment. Your sacral is telling you whether there will be energy made available for whatever the endeavor is, and whether that thing will lead you to a satisfying outcome. Just know that your sacral only gives its energy to what is correct for you. If you're given the green light to move forward, that means the necessary energy for that task or relationship or decision will be made available to you to see that whatever it is through to its satisfying conclusion, or until it's no longer correct for you. So it's good to check in to see what it does and does not endorse, so you aren't surprised when it stops funding your operation. If you're finding yourself running out of steam or running on fumes and satisfaction seems to be eluding you, you're likely ignoring your sacral telling you that such and such is not right for you, or you're simply not taking the time to ask for its counsel. Heeding the affirmation and negation council of your sacral is an empowering step towards reducing resistance and frustration and leading a satisfying life. Be aware of the times when your mind contradicts your sacral response and what the outcome is when you follow your sacral or when you let your mind talk you out of doing so. To get you started with feeling into your sacral response, I'm going to ask you a series of yes or no sample questions. Remember, do not answer with yes or no. Instead, use your sacral sounds with or for yes, whichever feels more natural to you, or or for no, or it might be or for maybe, which means no for now. Just don't answer with yes or no. And do your best to answer immediately without giving any thought to your answer. I'll give you a second of pause in between each question so you can feel into your response. And if you don't hear your sacral response right away, don't worry. It may take you a few sessions of someone asking you yes or no questions before you start having a handle on how your sacral is communicating. You'll need to experiment to find out which way your body consistently speaks to you, so don't feel you need to force a sound that doesn't feel right for you right now. All you need to know is that it will be something besides the words yes, no, or maybe. Another suggestion before we get into the questions is for you to place your hands over your diaphragm, your lower belly, to help you connect with your body and get you out of your head, because it's important that you don't think about your response and just immediately and automatically answer before your mind gets involved. These questions are just examples, so privacy warning. Gonna go all over the place with them. Your responses may surprise you, so you may want to be alone initially, as some of your answers may be private and not something you want overheard at this time. Okay, let's do this. Again, get centered. Put your hands on your lower belly, anchor yourself into the present moment, and get grounded. Remember, immediate, unthought about responses. Some of these may not apply to you, others very much will. Okay. Do you feel fulfilled by your current livelihood? Is it correct for you to leave your current job? If you're an entrepreneur, is it correct for you to pivot your direction and serve your clients in a different way? Is it important that you get your car serviced as soon as possible? Do you feel loved, valued, and supported by your partner? Do you have unresolved issues from your past regarding your childhood or upbringing that you would like to heal? Is there anything that would be correct for you to heal from any of your past relationships that is impacting your current relationship? Is it correct for you to go on a retreat by yourself? Is there anything that would be correct for you to heal from past relationships that is slowing you from being ready to meet your soulmate or beloved? Is it correct for you to relocate? Is it correct for you to see someone now about the thing that's been troubling you? Okay. Here are some bonus questions for those who said, to is it correct for you to relocate? Ready? Is it correct for you to move to just a different residence within the same city? Is it correct for you to move your residence to a different city within the same county? Is it correct for you to move your residence to a different state? Okay, as you can see, there are lots of different directions you can take these types of queries. So it's best to have a friend or loved one you trust to ask you these types of yes-no questions on a regular basis, so you can be sure to keep in contact with yourself and determine if you are on the right path. And if you answered in the affirmative to the solo retreat question, keep your eyes peeled for what invitations and advertisements and discussions and overheard conversations you encounter that have to do with retreats. If one shows up that looks appealing, a friend can ask you a list of yes or no questions that can help you excavate further and zero in to the right retreat for you. You may be wondering, do I even need someone else to do these sessions with me? Couldn't I just record myself asking these questions and then press play and answer them with my sacral? Well, you can certainly try that, but I suspect that knowing the question in advance will give your mind a better chance of messing with your answers. It's best if your mind doesn't know what's coming, so it can't influence your response. And the best way to do that is have a trusted person ask you yes or no questions in their own way on a general topic you present to them. Like, ask me a series of yes or no questions that pertain to my living situation, or my relationship, or moving, or my business. That way, your mind has no advanced knowledge of the question. Just be sure to answer before you have time to think about it. And as you start doing this more often, this process will become smoother for both yourself and your question partner. You may even create a sacred space and a centering meditation you like to do before your Q&A sacral session. Over time, your partner will also get better at picking up on your sacral yeses and know how to delve in even further to get to the meat of the matter, to that pearl. The ideal time to do these Q&A sacral sessions is when you're responding to something that you're considering. By the way, if you're a parent of a child with sacral authority, perhaps don't be such a stickler for formal yes or no answers, and allow them to answer in the way that their sacral naturally does and foster their ability to tap into their truth. At school, they may not get away with it, but at home, perhaps you can be more relaxed about it. And be sure to check out our other videos as well, especially our generator video or our manifesting generator video if you have any questions at all about what it means to respond. Remember, responding is the key to your aura strategy, not initiating. Experiment. See what happens when you follow your strategy and authority, and see what happens when you don't. What's your mind's track record in consistently leading you to good results? Thank you very much, and good luck with your experiment.